Thank you for tuning into Your Dose podcast. This series is sponsored by the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain. CFGNB connects donors who care with causes that matter. Their mission is to inspire philanthropy, manage permanent charitable assets, and address key community issues through strategic leadership. If you're interested in sponsoring our Your Dose podcast, make sure to follow the link below.
Welcome back to Your Dose. We're the plug for all things prevention.
And today I'm your host Israel, and to my right we have.
Hello, my name is Hannah.
And we have.
What's up, people? My name is Jackson.
And these are the co-hosts for the day. And today's prescription is Why Are You Prevention? And today we have a very, very special guest.
Big round of applause.
You heard a lot about him. We have Coach Omar McDew.
The man, the myth, the legend.
A.K.A. Black Santa, A.K.A. The GOAT.
A.K.A. Big Papa.
Yeah. And today we're going to get into it.
I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I'm very happy to be here finally. I've been in the background for so long.
Yeah.
My first podcast. I know.
Yeah. He's
Let's
been
get
excited.
it.
He's been excited to get in.
I
so
am.
Just going to throw him a little questions,
Hi, I'm Omar McDew. I'm AKA Coach O. I coach football at New Britain High School, and I'm also the youth advocate for the city of New Britain. And I've worked for the city of New Britain for a very, very long time. 36 years to be exact, I think. So,
Period.
yeah, so snap. So, yeah, I'm very happy, grateful to be here today. So,
Yes.
ask your questions, people.
Yes.
Let's go.
All right. So to begin, we're going to start with the question. We all want to know, why did you decide to stay in the community of New Britain?
So, I'm born and raised in New Britain, 1967 to be exact. So I've been here for a very long time. I never left. I went to all New Britain schools from elementary to Slade Middle School. I went to New Britain High for Gifted and Talented. I went to E.C. Goodwin for high school. I went to Central Connecticut for college. All my experiences have been in New Britain. I'm a creature of comfort, so New Britain is comfortable to me. I like diversity, to me, New Britain is a perfect place to be for me. I like waking up and going and working with people of different ethnicities, different colors. I can't be comfortable in a place that's all one, color. I need diversity, and there's no better place than New Britain.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that's
I
why.
like that.
Yeah.
That's why.
Mhm.
All right. So the next question that we had was, why did you make the career choice to work with kids?
Great question.
Yeah.
So after I graduated high school, I was kind of lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know, education was my way out. I grew up in the projects in New Britain, so I knew, without a doubt I was going to college. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started taking classes, and I had worked a bunch of different odd jobs. I worked at a convenience store. I worked at Taco Bell for 3 years. A lot of jobs. And during school, I worked 3 jobs at a time. So I'm always working. So my dad had gotten me a job application because he worked for the city. He worked for Public Works. So he got me a job application for Park and Recreation. And he was like, they have a job opening. It could be aquatics or it could be camp. And I'm like, well, obviously not aquatics. Duh.
Yeah.
So I filled out the application for camp counselor, got the job. And the summer of 1989 was my first, I got my group of kids and fell in love with working with kids. I knew from that point on, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with kids in some capacity, and I wanted to work with New Britain kids only. So that's how it happened. It was that summer of 89 that, started me on the path of, to lead me where I am now.
So where did football lead into all this?
So all my life I had wanted to play football.
Yeah.
When I was in 8th grade at Slade, and I had three opportunities to go to high school. my grandmother wanted me to go to St. Thomas Aquinas, which for those that don't know, used to be the private Catholic school in New Britain. But I wasn't trying to wear a shirt and tie to go to school. It was just not me.
He was a little thug.
Yeah. So, and then I wanted to go to New Britain High, but solely to play football.
Yeah.
Right.
And then my parents wanted me to go to Goodwin Tech to learn a trade because they were old school. They, learn a trade, go into, your job right after high school. That's kind of how it used to be.
Yeah.
And really no one in my family had been to college other than my mother went for 2 years. So I decided, when you're young, your parents have a lot of influence over you. So I decided to, go to Goodwin Tech, took electronics. And I had a good time at Goodwin Tech. It was a great school for me. But there was always that thing as like, I wish I would have went to New Britain High.
Yeah.
Just because I love football, so much. So
you wish you could have started sooner.
Yeah. So, so if that was my dream, I wasn't gonna it was still my dream to do it. So when I graduated high school, and I wound up going to Central. And I'm like, well, since I'm paying for my own school, I'm going to get the most out of school.
Right. Yeah.
So my dream was to play football. So I want to play football. So I remember walking into the defensive coordinator's office at Central. And it was in January. We were starting winter workouts.
Yeah.
And I told him my situation, how I went to Goodwin Tech and never had played before, but loved the sport. And I was just asking for, opportunity to try out or whatever. And he's like, I'll see you on Monday morning at 6:00 in the morning.
Yes.
And that's where it started.
Wow.
And it was literally, being in that gym with 100 other guys, all of which had played football. It was very intimidating. I didn't know what I was doing. But when
was that like your tryout?
It was like we'll see if you can make it.
If you even will last,
Yeah,
are you gonna stay?
Are you gonna quit or
I don't
because it's tough? It was one of the toughest things I ever
I'm
did.
sure.
Because you jump from just being a regular Joe Schmo to you're on a college football
ball ain't
team,
no joke.
and they run. I mean, we used to they were all like we're running miles and miles and early in the morning, and like we would put puke cans in the corners of the gym. And everyone was using them. I didn't because, I'm a gangster like that.
Oh, okay. Mental toughness.
I've
Mental toughness.
never thrown up for
Never?
football. Not for football.
Oh.
Yeah. So what about coaching? When
Yeah.
So I obviously made the team. And I was a practice dummy, this is what it is. But I've always been a team first player anyway. I had no illusions of grandeur like I'm going to the NFL,
Right.
So my thing is I want to do whatever to make the team better.
Yeah.
And if that was, I love practice. Like practice was my thing because that was the time I knew I wasn't playing. I was a walk-on. No, never.
No.
Never. In 5 years, I played football at Central for 5 years. I never started a game other than special teams. So I got playing time whenever I can get it, but I never started. But being on the sidelines for 5 years and watching your friends and guys that, you admire, just watching them play and already having that love for the sport, I started to, figure out the X's and O's a little bit. I was fortunate to have some really good coaches. One in particular, Matt Foster, is my defensive coordinator, and I expressed to him that I may want to get into coaching.
Yeah.
So we had talked a lot about it, and they let me do a grad assistant year after I graduated. So in 1991, I was the assistant. Huh?
What's
He's
that?
gonna explain.
A grad assistant, a coach.
Oh.
So I was an assistant coach after I got done playing football at Central. Oh. So the kids that I was playing with that were younger than me, the next year I was coaching them.
Coach,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was an assistant D-line coach, and I was in charge of
Yes, sir.
scout team and D-line stuff. So, and I remember I loved it because I had a whistle. And I would be like,
why didn't you bring it here,
line
man?
up. I have it in my car.
Always ready.
I'm always
Always
ready.
ready.
I'm always ready. So I used to, do sprints and do a lot of D-line warm-up stuff and blah, blah, blah. So, and I fell in love, even at that level, I loved doing it. Wasn't really interested in the college coaching because it's a lot of recruiting. I mean, eventually you're traveling all over the place recruiting people, and that really wasn't my thing. So after that year, my mother had passed away. So during that year, so it was a tough year for me. So I kind of took some time off. And then I was contacted by Goodwin Tech. They were looking for a JV coach because I played baseball all my life since I didn't have football at Goodwin. So I played baseball all my life, and they asked me if I would come back to coach, which I did for 3 years. So I coached Goodwin Tech for 3 years.
Baseball or football?
Baseball. We didn't have football even
I was gonna
then.
say, when the
Football
in
started
Goodwin
like
Tech-
in the 2000s.
Oh wow.
At Goodwin Tech. There was nothing in the 90s. So I coached baseball, Goodwin Tech. Then when I was all the while working for Park and Rec, then I coached JC Current baseball, which was summer baseball. Park and Rec ran JC Current. So I coached there, won a championship with them. And then I took some more time off to figure stuff out. And then I remember when Jack Cochran got the job at New Britain High, he came up to me and asked me if I would be interested in getting back into coaching football. And I'm like, absolutely. So my first year was 2001.
Anyway, he asked you this out of the baseball season?
I mean, all my life I'd gone to New Britain High games, like all the time. I never missed a New Britain High game. Even when I was in college, I would go to New Britain High games on Friday nights, and Central would play on Saturdays. So I was always at New Britain High games. So I was at Vets for something, and I ran into him. And, I was with somebody who said, hey, he used to play at Central. And he's like, hey, are you interested in coaching? And that's kind of how it started.
Okay.
So I told him I had some experience at Central coaching, so blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow.
So I started off in 01 as a freshman offensive and defensive line coach.
Yeah.
And then the year after, he wanted me to be the head coach. So I did that. So I've been the head coach since 02.
Oh, he was the freshman coach?
No, there was another guy that was already a freshman coach.
Okay.
So he needed an assistant. So
You prefer the freshman? You prefer coaching?
yes.
the freshman?
So I've had many times, everyone asks me, players and coaches and head coaches, they've asked me to move up.
I always wondered that, yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes in life, when you're a good fit for something, and this is kind of your life journey.
Yeah.
I'm a religious person. I believe God put me in a certain place and give me certain talents.
Yeah.
Amen.
My certain talent is the 8th and 9th grade conversion.
Yeah.
Like I love
The foundation.
freshmen. Yeah, because I can teach. I love teaching fundamentals, blocking, tackling.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. I mean, I like to win. Don't get me wrong. Alex knows, but it's not about that for me. It's about seeing kids because for those that don't know, Alex or Israel and Jackson played for me. It's about development, teaching the basics and then seeing them grow and grow into all conference their senior year. And, that's where I get the most enjoyment. So I assist with the varsity on game night, but I've never really had any inkling to move up to the varsity because I know what I'm good at. I'm a good freshman football coach. So
Yeah, you are.
yeah, appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So now that we heard about prevention in sports,
Mhm.
how do you think they intertwine with each
So
other?
everything I've done, I consider prevention. Like even being raised in the church, that time in the church, it's
100%.
it's prevention because it's the morals and the moral code that I learned from going to church and having strong, strict parents. They've taught me that, I don't need that stuff. And I got my first offer of weed in my freshman year, the first week of high school in the bathroom. And I was quick to say, no, I'm good. Thanks a lot. And, so it's, prevention has always been a part of who I am. I've always been kind of the, my own person. Like I wasn't a follower, I mean, fashion and anything I was the dorky kid, the nerd kid, but I did my own thing.
Yeah.
You know, I was my own person. And, you know, I didn't fit in with some of the cliques that was at, especially in middle school.
Yes, I feel
But
that.
it didn't bother me. I purposely would go out of my way to be
not
different.
Be with them.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So, and I used to get teased and bullied and all that kind of stuff. I got called church boy, even in college when the football players were partying and whatnot. I was not, because that's not what I want to do. I don't see the enjoyment and pleasure of getting drunk and not being in control of yourself.
Yeah, literally.
You know, my highs were natural. Like, I like seeing my friends succeed. I like when I succeed, you know, naturally. I don't
Take notes, kids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't the chemicals, you know.
Yeah, you can have fun without substance.
Yeah, I have fun going to a football game. I have fun, you know, seeing my kids. Like now, when I go see some of my youth leadership kids go and see Hannah play softball. I sit there and she knows I'm sitting there at the home
In the
run fence.
back.
I'm in the back with my camera and I'm like, click.
And then he sends you
That's-
guys pictures.
yeah,
and they're the
that's
most
my
random
fun.
picture you've ever seen.
Absolutely, because that I enjoy doing that. I go to
Right.
my kids' dance recitals. That's my
Band.
fun. Everything. I was just at Jada's
The
musical last week, and I had a blast because it's like, you know, I had a hand in where she is now,
Yeah.
and I had a hand in all you guys doing the great things that you guys are doing, and I have a little bit of piece of that. And Alex is graduating in 2 months, and I'm going to be sitting there in this like I always do, and I'm going to be like a proud father because I had a part of him going into high school. I was his coach,
Definitely, yeah.
you know, and that makes me very proud. So that's my high. I don't need beer. I don't need, you know, none of that stuff.
Substances.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? When we're out doing like fundraiser stuff or whatever, random people will come up to you and you'll have like a full on conversation. And then
Coach knows
you'll be like, oh, you
everybody.
know, I coached him.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
part
he
of
knows
being,
You know the whole
everybody.
city,
But
man.
you was a coach since
Part of-
02.
Yep. Part of longevity is you know a lot of people. You know, I've coached. I'm like coaching. I'm past the point of coaching kids that I've coaching their sons, and I'm getting to the point where the grandsons are going to be coming. So, you know, that's the good part. You know, I get to see my kids that I coached in 02, 03. They're now like late 30s, 40 years old.
My
Now they
mom
have
graduated in 02 and she's 40 now. So
See what I'm saying? So, you learn to, you coach a lot of people, you know their parents. And growing up in New Britain, I mean, high school, I know people, you know.
Right.
I see the same people. New Britain, as you guys know, it's a lot of people, but it's a very small community.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know one, you know a lot.
Yeah.
So
Everybody's related.
Yeah, everyone's related. My
Yep.
cousins.
That's true.
So we know you're the head of the Prevention Council. Why is it important for you to be that leader and be that head of the council to like lead these kids?
So me and Mallory started a youth leadership group at the time. Because I went to her and I was like, I've done youth leadership groups before earlier in my career, but I wanted to do another one because I also run the Juvenile Review Board, in New Britain, and that's kids that get arrested and, you know, they have issues and whatever, but I wanted to offset those kids with kids that do what they're supposed to do. You know, they're getting good grades, they're doing, you know, good things. I wanted to work with those kids because I don't think there's a lot of for those kids. A lot of the other kids have a lot of supports in school and social workers and, you know, guidance counselors and all that kind of stuff. The kids that are the A students, the kids that are doing, you know, what they need to do in school, I didn't think there was a whole lot of programming for them. So I wanted to create something very special for them. And I wanted to make it a very select group. So I talked to Mal. We had a little bit of money to start off with. And literally we picked out a few kids who we thought would be really good for this group. Alex is one of them. He's one of the original OGs. I'm sorry, people. Alex is Israel. Israel is Alex.
Alexander is my middle name, so a lot of people call me Alex.
I've always called him Alex. So when people call him Israel, I'm like, who? Anyway, so we started the youth leadership, and it was just to kind of promote and get leadership skills out of kids. You know what I mean? And then go out in the community and help the community out. At the same time, there was a lot of money coming down through the feds for the opioid crisis that was happening. So the prevention stuff, the drug prevention stuff was growing. So we decided to, since we were going to get some of that money, to switch our focus to prevention and preventing kids from alcohol and marijuana and vape and all that other stuff that, you know, kids shouldn't be doing. And it wasn't necessarily to stop them from doing it, but it was to educate kids about the harms of it all.
Right.
Like, there's obviously a lot of adults drink, you know, but we don't want them to start when they're young.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started. And it started with, 7 kids?
Yeah. What?
Back in the day.
Me, Annalise, Malia, Joe.
Yep. Ryan.
Daniel.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Ryan,
And then
Daniel.
we had a few others.
Yeah.
Dee Dee and so.
So,
no,
yeah,
she came later.
What were some of the traits that you kind of looked for?
I was looking for
Yeah.
very good students. Was my number one.
Students.
So the A students, straight A's, because back when I was an A student, nerd, all I had was like gifted and talented,
Right.
and I remember, you know, just being gifted with like students, and I'm a competitive person,
Right.
and I always wanted to, you know, I was always gauging myself against them.
Yeah.
So I wanted to recreate that group, that type of group.
Yeah.
So I wanted kids that were high academically functioning, but I also wanted kids that were already doing other things. Alex played football, Annalise danced, Malia played basketball. You know, they all did other things. And even now with the group, we have 24 kids
That's a lot.
in the group.
We
But
grew
they
a
all
lot.
do extracurriculars.
Yeah.
all
We're all
of them.
active.
Yeah. So
So when the seniors leave,
that's why I got the younger guys,
Yeah.
because
Facing us.
we have 4 seniors leaving this year, and I want to keep the number around 19, 20.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of other kids that want to join because
Yeah.
they see what we do, and
They see us everywhere.
Yeah, they see us. They see our merch, our logos everywhere, and you know, we get around, and as you guys know, we do a lot, and it never ends.
yes, sir.
But and we do such good work that other people see it and they want to be a part of it. But I want to keep the group exclusive, so I want it to be very special. So when you are in it, you feel that, you know, hey, I'm doing something special that no one else, you know, can do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
What do you feel are like some of the best events and programs that we've hosted as youth prevention? Like throw a little highlight out there.
So we just got done with Sneaker Ball, which I love.
Yeah,
I
that was a
love
great
Sneaker
event.
Ball,
Ball.
because it's, you know, it's just for the middle school kids, and the ones that show up, I think they have a great time. They love it. I've never heard anything bad about, you know, the time they've had at Sneaker Ball. I
was
love
having fun with them.
that's our second year of doing it, and it was a great idea. And the kids came up with that. They came up with that event. So I love the fact that we raised money for our New Britain Youth Leads Fund. So all the money that we raise when we fundraise, we have this endowment fund with community foundations. And the kids raise the money, and then they donate it to, last year it was the Boys and Girls Club, HRA, Food Bank, and what was the other? Oh, Park and Rec.
Yeah, Parks and Rec.
Yep.
We bought camp members.
I thought it was like 2 camp members
Uh,
got
ye-
like the full thing.
Yeah,
free
it
or
was
something.
I
like a scholarship.
Yeah, it was a
almost?
scholarship for
Yeah.
2 kids. Yeah, so that's amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Prevention
Yeah, your
Palooza,
boys
which
are-
is coming up at the end of April, is another great event. It's kind of different this year. We have more of a STEM focus, and OIC is partnering with us. I think that's going to be a really good event down at New Britain Stadium, April 26th. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out.
But I particularly love the holiday drive we do at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oh,
When we're get-
boy.
when
It gets
we're-
me in the spirit.
Yeah, it gets you in the Christmas
Oh,
spirit.
boy.
We get gifts for a lot of kids in New Britain, and these guys help out and their
That's cool.
parents help out with sorting it and bagging it up, and it's a really good time. So everybody knows me. I'm Black Santa. So
Yeah.
I love.
Yes.
Is
That's
that
my-
why y'all call him that?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's my
and
time
that
of
he
year.
gives us
And then I treat my kids,
yeah.
my youth leadership kids, we get them some stuff for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Black Santa, he be pulling up.
Mhm.
Definitely
He
gets you in the
texts you, "Are
spirit.
you home?"
Yep.
Yes.
So I
I'm
got a
home.
question, Coach.
Yes.
Are there any things? Is there any stuff from like football that translate into your work with like? Your
Oh,
profession?
everything.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good question.
Everything. So you guys, my youth leadership council, they're my team.
Yeah.
You know, I growing up, you know, I've had some really good coaches, and one of the hallmarks to me, that when I consider a good coach is they give everything,
Right.
like 100%. And I've got offers to coach different things in the high school sports that I'm not familiar with, but I can't give it 100%. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So football, freshman football, and New Britain High School football, I go 100%, and I treat that like I've always tell the kids. I coach them kids like it's the Packers or the Patriots.
Yeah.
I go get everything I got. Youth leadership is the same thing. It's 100%. I'm very New Britain centric. Like
Yeah.
I want my kids in New Britain, whether it's youth leadership council kids or football, I want them on par with the Simsburys and the Greenwiches and all those kids. I think my kids are on par or better than anybody in the state of Connecticut.
Yep.
And that's my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I coach hard, as they know. We do a lot of stuff with youth leadership because I want us to be the best. That kind of is, played out. We've received multiple awards for youth leadership. We're known throughout the country with the stuff that we do in Connecticut, and that's a testament to the hard work of you guys. I mean, I kind of am the muscle behind it. I'm driving places and I'm setting stuff up, but you guys do the work. But I'm picking the right people.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So I pick the people that I think and know that are passionate about doing prevention stuff,
Yeah.
Right.
and then we get the job done.
Yeah, it kind of. I like how you said that. Like you pick the people. It kind of goes full circle to what you were avoiding in a Central. You're like, I didn't want to be a Central coach because then it got into the recruiting.
Yes.
But then now you're head of youth prevention and you're recruiting us.
Yep.
Yeah.
But when I'm recruiting you guys,
It's in
it's
our
recruiting
school.
New Britain.
Yeah.
See, I don't
Right.
like. I'm not a traveler, as most people know. I don't like travel. I don't go nowhere. I don't take vacations.
Yeah, no.
Only to Katka, but I have to. But I
Do
don't.
you not like planes?
I don't like planes.
Do you not
I-
like the
I don't do
airport
planes.
or
I don't like traveling. Like most people need a break in New Britain. You need or anywhere. They need to get away.
yeah.
I don't need that.
Yeah, you're not
Like
wired
I'm
like that,
very
yeah.
comfortable in New Britain. When I
Right.
take my vacation days from work, I stay home, and I work around the house or I just chill. But I'm in New Britain, because I just don't like traveling. That's I'm weird like that.
Yeah, that's it.
He likes traveling
Your
into our
preference
schools
exceeds-
though and
I
asking people to
certainly
pull
do.
up their grades.
Traveling into your power school.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh, I live
He
in
pops up out of
power
nowhere.
school.
Yeah.
He pops up out of nowhere and where's your power school at? Let
Yep.
me see them
Let me
grades.
see your
Like
phone.
not even to the prevention kids, but
Everybody.
like just
Everyone gets it.
kids in general. Like he will walk up to
Everybody
them and be
can
like,
get it.
"Where's your power
That's
school?"
funny because
And then if you have one bad grade, you're cooked.
I'm realizing now it's low key rubbing off on me because I work with Parks and Rec kids as a group leader,
Mhm.
and I'm like, let me see your grades.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like, what are
right.
your grades?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and they're like, I don't know how to check, and I'm like, oh, I know how to check. I'm pulling my phone out and I'm having them. Oh, yeah, you need to
Yep.
get that C up.
And you know why I do that? Because education is so key to me to escaping poverty.
Yeah.
And when you grow up in poverty like I have, it's a cycle. Like it can trap you. Like if you're not serious about your education, that's why I'm so nutty about education, because education is the key. Not everybody's a Division I athlete.
Right.
Not everybody's going to get a scholarship to go to college and do whatever. But if everybody's capable of working hard and getting decent grades, grades are the key to doing what you want to do. And for most people, they want to go and experience the world and go, live other places and go other places. For me, I like being in New Britain, but I have that option. because I had good grades, and I have a great job because of those good grades. I fell into a fabulous job that I love, and that's what I want my kids to experience. Whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, do whatever you got to do to get to that point. So I wake up every morning going, cool, I get to deal with Hannah and Alex and Jackson today. I mean, what better job is that?
Yeah.
You know? So
That's the goal. You
Yeah.
know, wake up when
Yeah,
don't
and
even,
Like doesn't even feel like work.
It's not
like, Like you just
it's
get
not
to...
work at all. It's
Yeah.
just, it's a part of who I am. And I absolutely love it.
yeah.
That's a bar.
Mm.
That is a bar and a half.
What do you say to people who are still trying to kind of figuring out who they are or what they want to do?
That's a good question.
So, and I have experience because, like I said before, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was 20 years old when when it just hit me that, hey, I have a talent for working with kids. So I would say keep trying different things. Don't be afraid to, stick your neck out there a little bit and try different things, and you'll never know what's going to hit and what you're going to be passionate about. But hold on and wait until you find that, because there's nothing worse. I have friends that go to work every day and they hate their job.
It's terrible.
And it's terrible. There's no amount of money. I'm not driven by money. Obviously, I'm a social worker. We don't make a lot of money. Our payday is like graduation day and watching kids succeed, and scholarship night when our kids like Daniel last year raking cash because he's getting he's getting so much scholarship money. That's our payday, So I've never been motivated by money. I'm used to being poor, so it's no big thing, living check to check. But find your passion in life, and once you know it, do everything to hold on to it and work, and don't be afraid to work. And that's one thing I got from my parents, especially my grandmother, because she was a slave master.
Oh
She had me, I'm just saying, she had me working 5 years old. I was mopping floors. I mean, I worked, 8-9 hour days in the sun was nothing for my grandmother. Right. So she believed in work at a very early age, and I learned that work ethic. So, working 10, 12 hours is nothing, but when you love doing what you do, it ain't work. So.
Yeah. I have one last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So through football and through YLC, you're a mentor to many people.
Mm-hmm.
As you grew up and as you were coming up, did you have one big mentor figure in your life?
No. The people I looked up to were kind of in my house. My mother was probably my best friend, growing up. She was legally blind. She had polio.
Oh, what?
Yep. She was disabled. So, but she was I saw her raise 3 kids pretty much on her own. Now, not on her own, because my father he was the breadwinner, so we always had to work.
Yeah.
So, so I looked to both of them and their work ethic and how they handle things. And my dad going to work and having to pay all the bills for 3 kids and a wife and himself, all the while still bringing us to church and making sure we have that, that church background to stand on. Those were my people I looked up to. I had certain Sunday school teachers that I always tell the story. One of my favorite Sunday school teachers was, I had my dad as a teacher. It wasn't my dad. It was a lady we called Sister Moore. I loved her because she kept it real with me, and she would tell me things, and we would chit chat on the side, and she, you have conversation just like I have with you guys. I had conversations with her, and I internalized those conversations, and it just stayed with me. And I've had good coaches. I've had, like in college, I had coaches that kind of inspired me. And, there was a time when I wanted to quit because I was getting up there on the depth chart, and I had that means I was climbing the depth chart.
So there's a depth chart and there's positions, and then there's there's not just one person that plays that position. There's multiple people. So like there's a depth chart on who plays, who's like
Who's the starters, who's second string.
who's second string, who's third string.
Yeah.
That's the depth chart.
So going into my junior year, I was on the first team. I was practicing the first team. And we had these new stupid cleats, and it developed a huge blister on the back heel of my right foot. And it had to be lanced, so cut and drained. So I was on the first team before the blister. When I got back to practice a day and a half later, I was back down to third string.
Jeez.
That's college ball, man.
And that's right, because they had a recruit that they had 2 recruits in my position that they wanted ahead of me, and I gave them the opportunity to put them ahead of me. So obviously I was upset about it, and the coaches knew I was upset about it, but I'm a walk-on.
Yeah.
So college is, in that way, it's not too much different than high school, but it's a little bit different. So it really tested me, tested my resolve, for being on the team and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I put in so much work to this. Why would I quit? Not to mention, how do I go tell my mom and my dad, hey, I quit?
Right.
There's that Q word is never entered.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist in my house.
Right.
So I stuck it out, and the rest is kind of history. I'm glad I did, but it's when you go through that in life, everything is not going to be rosy, and you just got to work yourself through it.
Yeah. I think we can end on that. Work yourself through it.
Work yourself through it.
Yeah.
Anything
All
else?
right. Huh?
No, that's it. We cleared all the questions.
Wait, I have one
Go ahead,
question.
Go ahead.
Okay. Guys, I'm nervous.
Go ahead.
So, like, has there ever been a time where, like, you've seen, like, this one kid slipping, and, like, what have you done about it?
About a kid slipping?
Yeah, like, slipping up. Like,
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of kids.
A lot of kids, yeah.
Like
sure.
what? Like,
No, like-
what kind of like?
a good kid hanging around the background.
Oh, all the time. I see it all the time. I see it now. I was on Power School Monday. And I can see it. And I know, so this kid who I'm thinking of right now was an A student. And I noticed he's hanging out with certain people because I go to the high school and creep. You know what I do.
Yes, I'm telling you, he pops up out of nowhere.
Yep. And he's hanging out with kids that I know that are not good students and not good. And I know they're vaping because they're part of a little vape crew that are roaming the hallways. And I know this kid is hanging out with them. And I'm on Power School and I watch his grades do this. So I snitch. And I tell every kid, listen, you're involved with me. I'm the biggest snitch in New Britain. So I'm calling parents and I'm letting them know. Like I take pictures of grades, show them to the parents. And when he got home, there was a conversation to be had.
Yep.
So, but I do that.
Accountability.
And I tell them, you could tell them it was me. You can show them the text. My job, I want them to be successful.
Right.
And sometimes that is painful. Sometimes everybody doesn't like Coach O.
Yeah.
Oh, we love you over here.
I appreciate it. But, and eventually, so the people that dap me up when they're in their 20s and 25 and 30 years old.
Those were the kids that
those
were
are the same
messing
kids.
up.
I've had kids I've kicked off the freshman team that, invite me to their weddings, 25, when they're
That's
25,
crazy.
30. Because they understand as they get older and more mature that, hey, I was screwing up.
You're really looking out for them.
And I'm looking, exactly. The reason I do stuff is for their benefit. It's not because I'm a jerk and I don't like them.
Right.
But I want them to be successful, and I believe in holding people accountable. There are consequences. And I want you, when you're at New Britain High, your job is to be the best student you can be. And if you happen to play sports, cool. If you happen to be in band, awesome. But
It's even more work.
Yep. And don't be afraid to work. See, that's the other reason why you guys aren't afraid to work. That's why I have you in the Youth Leadership Council. Because you do school, then he goes to work, you do sports, and then you come to youth leadership. And then we have events.
homework.
And then you have homework. And then you got church. It's a lot. When do you guys have time to smoke weed?
Never. And I think that's
And that's prevention.
Yes.
That's why I'm prevention.
Yeah.
Oh,
You like that?
Hey.
Oh, you like the segue?
Yeah.
Thank you
Wait, we
very
might
much.
have to close it out there.
Yeah.
That was a bar.
That's why he's
Wait, that was
prevention.
so
You like that?
tough.
Sweet.
Yes, coach. All right, so do we say bye now?
Yeah. We can say bye to the viewers.
Okay.
Say bye to the viewers.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
This
Of
was a
course.
legendary
Cool.
podcast.
Right, this is a legendary podcast. I'm gonna show this to
It's
my
gonna
children
go down in
when I
history.
grow up.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, look
Historic
at Coach,
podcast
my
right here.
mentor. But yeah, we appreciate you coming on and talking
Yeah,
to
thank
our
you.
viewers,
It's awesome.
so they know who's behind it.
Anytime.
Thank you for tuning in.
We'll see you in
We'll
the
see you in the next
pod,
one.
guys.
Yes. Hope you guys enjoyed.
And remember,
Don't do crack.
Oh my god.
Don't do crap.
All
there we
right.
go.
Bye guys.
Bye, guys.